Do you hate ads? I hate ads. You know what I love? Patreon.com/inkdependence and the season of giving. Right now over on Patreon.com/inkdependence, patrons get a patron-only Discord. They get ad-free video and they get the joy of knowing that they have supported this channel. Hello folks, welcome to Inkdependence. I'm Mike, and this is the Enigma Stationer's Inkvent for 2023. It's 2024 now, and I'm a little bit late in completing this. As you may have seen in my channel posts and other places I might have talked about it, we did have a bit of a catastrophe in our menagerie, and we lost one of our sweet kitties. Clipsy Noodle has passed on, so that really put a damper on my ability to make videos. Frankly, I just really wasn't feeling like I could put on anything like a cheery face for a little bit. So thank you for understanding and the kind thoughts and words that y'all have expressed. And I just kind of want to get into making videos about ink and pens and stuff again, and all that jazz. So I want to finish up this here Enigma Stationer's Inkvent set. So we have days 15 through 25. We're gonna look at 10 inks today that they're already on here, and you can see there are little tabs here. We'll talk about those in a little bit here at the end of the video and how all that went. So let's get on it. I have been using this Wearingool notebook. Where's the front page? A little hard to find the front page or the front cover because it's the same paper as everything else, it seems. This is the Impression Color Swatch book from Wearingool with 9 ink bottles per page, and this is a pretty darn good format for this sort of thing. I really liked using it for this Inkvent. So I will say I don't think this paper is very good at doing some of the sheening and such that other papers would be able to show you. I think this paper is just not quite as good as like the paper you'll find in like coloring cards and coloring books and that sort of thing, but pretty good, and it gives you a lot of other stuff as well. So let's get going. We finished up 14 here, Kiyonoto Yamabukiro, which is a very interesting sort of yellowy green color. The next day, the 15th, was Teranishi Guitar Orchestra Tangerine. I really like that a lot of these Teranishi guitar inks were included in this set. We have one up here. You can see Salon de Violet, or Violet, I don't know, Salon de Violet. And then here, Orchestra Tangerine. I think this Orchestra Tangerine is a really nice color. It's kind of a brownish orange. And I've only had, a couple of these before now, and I'm glad that I have a bunch more because I've been wanting to get my hands on some of these, and they're a little bit hard to find in the US. So really cool orchestra guitar there. Then we have, Orchestra Tangerine, Teranishi Tangerine Orchestra Guitar is where I was going there. Number 16 here for day 16, Ferris Wheel Press Malibu Blush. I sort of suspect this one's going to be too light out of most fountain pens. This was done with a glass dip pen, and it came out okay, but I really think that this color is going to be kind of too light for most fountain pens. This happens sometimes with Ferris Wheel Press, and actually when Audrey was having me guess which one this might be, I did guess it was probably a Ferris Wheel Press because it's just kind of light and a little bit on the light side there. Probably better for artsy stuff than writing stuff. Next up, Birmingham Pen Co. I was a little surprised to see a Birmingham Pen Co. in here. This one's called Amaranth, which is a really fun color. I hadn't seen this color before, and I just could not guess this maker. This is a tough one. This is a really interesting color that fades from kind of a light pink. Actually, the lightest pink over here is kind of like the darkest pink over in here. Don't mind this little splotch. I don't know where that came from, but kind of like the lightest color there, but then it fades into like a bricky sort of bricky sort of red there, which I think is really interesting. And looking forward to seeing what that one's like. I did get some mild feathering here, and that might just be because the ink was really wanting to fall off of this glass pen and not really necessarily a thing with the ink. I don't think anything managed to bleed through this paper. Now, this paper is extremely thick. You can actually see the thickness there on the edge. Like, it's a very thick paper. Nothing came through that. Next up, Sailor Ink Studio 162. These are always cool inks here in the Studio series. I often worry that the 100 level inks are going to be too light, but I think this one's not. This is just a really nice multi-chrome that has some pinkish sort of blushy areas in the middle and some deeper greens where there's a whole lot of ink put down, and then sort of a paler green that shows off more of that pink in the rest of it. And I'm curious to see how this will look out of a fountain pen. I really think that it'll be okay because this is my very fine dip nib, my glass dip nib, and it was just fine on that. So I think that would be perfectly fine in most fountain pens. pens, but looking forward to see how that goes. It's going to take me a while to get through all this ink. Inkvents have made me acquire so much ink. I think like if I were a normal human person and not a person who did a bunch of ink reviews and that sort of thing, I would like get Inkvent, like the 2 Inkvents, and then just not buy any inks the rest of the year. I think I could probably do that. All right, number 19. This is another Teranishi guitar. This is Nighttime Soda, and it looks really cool. It is a blue with sort of a red sheen, which is a fairly typical way to do these kinds of blue inks with that red sheen, but it is a nice kind of denim-y blue there with that red sheen, and that's a little bit unusual. So I dig it. I think that'll be pretty cool, and I've really liked the way these look. I actually really like the way this looks in the writing. Let me see if I can give you a whole bunch of light on that real quick, but I really like the way it looks in writing. I think that looks good. I don't really see any of that sheen there, but that is, again, that really fine nib glass pen, and I think it worked out really well. Next up, Ferris Wheel Press Cloak and Forest, which I have actually just gotten a bottle of from a friend. Do I have it here? No, I don't have it handy, but I just got a bottle of this from a friend for Christmas, so that's very fun, and this is a really interesting ink, so yeah, looking forward to that. I actually need to go through and swatch all of these that I don't have, so there are a whole bunch of these I don't have, but yeah, Ferris Wheel Press Cloak and Forest looks real neat there. A lot of like sort of silvery blue shimmer in that green, and also red sheen. Although I don't see any red sheen here. It's really just kind of shimmer when you hit the shimmer. But when you turn it away from the light, you don't get the shimmer. You just get that nice green. I think it's a good combo. Good job, Ferris Wheel Press. Next up, this is a brand that I'd never heard of before, Pinto Note. And Audrey's like, I don't think I've heard of this one. I'm like, oh no, because she's heard of probably at least as many brands of ink as I have. And we've never heard of Pinto Note before. So this is a new one from us. This is Letters from Fukushima, number 8. And it's kind of I would call that mauve, but I mean, maybe that's not the right color. Orchid, perhaps like a pale orchid. It's a really interesting color. I kind of wonder what it's going to be like in a fountain pen. This was my broader glass pen, and you might be wondering like how I can tell which one I wrote with when I wrote this quite a while ago, but I just kind of can. I don't know. It's much thinner, or much thicker rather than anything you get from here. So I don't know. I just kind of know, but it worked out pretty well from that. I think if I put that in a broad nib or maybe a very wet medium or something, I think it would probably be okay, but it's an interesting color. I don't really know if I have anything that's that color. So new brand and kind of maybe a new color for me. I like that a lot. Now, number 22, getting here close to this 25 down here, Colorverse Project number 42, Gathui? I don't actually, let me Google that. Okay, so I had to look this up, and I found it over at Pen Boutique, and this is Colorverse Kingdom 2 ink, project number 42, and the ink is called Gahui, Gahui, Gahui. Yeah, that's kind of what I put there. I just wasn't confident in that what I had written. Gahui. That's really interesting. I don't know what that is, but it looks interesting and it's a cool color. Then next up, our last Teranishi guitar for the set. This is Teranishi guitar Lady Emerald, which I have heard very good things about, and it's a really nice emerald green with a bunch of sheen on there, and you can actually see the sheen in the writing as well, which is good. I like seeing a little bit of sheen in there. And I also like when you have a little bit of sheen, but also like plenty of the base color. That's a hard thing to do with these inks that sheen, is kind of get that balance where you see sheen, but also the base color. Next up, Platinum Chukuro, which is, or Chokuro, whoops. And man, this is a very black. I've had this in a pen for a while now. I haven't tried to clean it out, but I did get some distilled water, so I'll give that a try sometime soon. But man, this black is extremely black. You shine some light on it, and it's like, nope, I'm just gonna eat all that light. You can kind of see where the core of that emitter is. You can see it's bouncing off there a little bit, but man, that is just an extremely dark black. Nothing is as black as this ink. I really like the smoothness. I really like this ink. I think it's pretty good. It is very expensive at $60 a bottle, but if you're looking for an ultra dark black ink that is waterproof, that might be your jam. I need to do a review on that one sometime soon. And lastly, this is Ferris Wheel Press, Cabernet on the Lake, which is real fun. I could not guess anything about this one. By the time I got to number 25, I was just like, oh, I don't know what the heck this is. And so it was Ferris Wheel Press, and she's like, think of like wines and places. And I'm like guessing the names of wines. I just could not come up with Cabernet. I don't know why. I just couldn't do it. Mostly because I think of Cabernet as being much darker than this, but I'm not like a wine aficionado. I do I do like this color though. It's got like a rose gold sort of shimmer in there. It's got that sort of pinky wineish color off to the side over here, even in the shaded areas there. I think it looks really good. So that's pretty cool. I think this is a really nice set of inks. I liked the breadth and depth that we had in this series. So everything from Terry Nishikatara Smoky Navy and Yurimiku Seiki and like Kokiro, these Kinoto ones, which a lot of people I think don't have their hands on. These are really interesting inks. They tend to run a bit on the dry side. And so if you have a pen that is out of control wet, throw some Kinoto or Kiyoiro inks in there and it'll solve that problem for you. And like some really cool shimmers, everything from like extremely pale shimmers up to much denser, deeper ones. Good breadth of brands as well. Some favorites in here of mine like Colorverse Cat. And of course, Seiki, which is one of my all-time favorite inks. Just look at the cool colors in that ink. Really neat. So yeah, some that I didn't even know existed, like Platinum Rose Red, which I completely had never seen before. I know, I've been doing this whole ink thing for, I don't know, over a decade, and I've never seen that one. How did that happen? I don't know. Kakamori's SB130, never even heard of that one, but it looks beautiful. It's a really nice rosy red. All these Teranishi guitars that are great. Yeah, just a little bit of everything, and I think that's pretty darn cool, including bangers like Chukuro that people ought to get their hands on and at least get a chance to try. So it was really nice of him to include this one in, I think, all the sets. So yeah, really good stuff. Now, let's talk a little bit about this the setup over here. The setup for these, and he sent this out for free, gratis for me to share with everybody and just have fun with. I really like this cutout deal. I think this is fantastic. I love the way this sets up and can like sit up and that sort of thing. You don't need to have a whole sample holder set if you don't want to, although that would be fine too. I really like the way this is made. I think it's beautiful. It goes well, near your desk or whatever when you're doing the Inkvent. It's a cheerful presentation. Dig it. I also really like the way that they did these little caps. Let's see, can I get one of these out? Yeah. I really like the way they did these little caps on here. So he made, Dan and family, I'm actually not sure who did all the work here, but Enigma Stationers did these little circles out of the same material as this, and I kind of guess they would be color matched with whichever one of these you got. I'm not sure if these come on the sample vials if you don't get the stand, but I'm sure maybe one of y'all out there can let me know. I also really like the scratch off thing. There's this whole scratch off sheet you use to figure out what each ink was, which is like really fun way to do it. I really like scratching things off, and Audrey got to do the scratch off, and I got you the guessing. It's a whole family thing. I dug that for sure. And then when the set is done, you've done all 25 of them, there's a whole sheet of just like pre-made sticker labels with day one and the name of the thing and the Inkvent 2023 and all that jazz. And that is great as well, because then you don't have to try to make your own labels. The one thing I think could be improved a little bit is the labels that were used are not terribly sticky. And I'm going to go through and put a little piece of tape on the back of them all, because if you look at the back of my vial holder, they're all trying to come loose. Like, they're just not sticking to the vials very well. And I don't know if this is something that Dan could have known without putting them on there and like just happen to have them sitting next to your computer for a while. There's not really much humidity in here, of course, because it is winter, and so I got the heat on most of the time. It's like kind of a normal-ish temperature of 65, 66 in here a lot of the time. And I don't know, maybe it was cold weather, maybe it was like humidity, maybe just these are not sticky. Like, they're very sticky, but they just don't stick to the vials very well, and they don't stick to themselves, I don't think, enough to really seal them on there well. So I'm gonna put a little piece of clear like Scotch tape on the back, and that'll take care of that problem. But I will talk to Dan about that and be like, hey, maybe use a stickier sticker or something. I don't know, but I really love the way it's set up, and I hope that this problem, if it's a problem for anybody else, if yours is all stuck and it's just me, let me know down in the comments, because that could totally just be me and I just did it poorly. I don't know what I did, but yeah, they're all trying to come off, and that doesn't make it difficult to pull them out. So I'm just gonna go through all of them and put a little Scotch tape on there. But easy fix. The other thing is the stand. While I love the stand, it is a little bit tricky, because if you try to pick it up, you will end up having this all kind of come apart. And I don't know really how to fix that problem. I'm not a designer of any kind, and I don't really know what that would take to fix. And maybe this is not an issue for anybody who's not me and doesn't want to keep picking this thing up for video. Like if you just put it over here, it's not going to fall apart. It's plenty sturdy and it never falls over. Even the cats never knocked this over. So that's pretty good. And that's saying like this is a good little device. So like really my only nit is that when you pick this up, you tend to just pick up this piece and leave the base behind. And the slightly less sticky stickers, although weirdly they are plenty sticky, like in general, just they don't stick to the sample vial. And these are very normal sample vials and very normal like print on stickers. And I've never really had this problem before. So I don't know what the heck would cause that, but I don't know. So yeah, I love this whole setup. I love this selection of inks. This is very fun. I can definitely see myself doing this again next year. And I think for the cost, it's very cool. So there you go. And thanks for joining me on this little tour, this little adventure. And yeah, did you find a brand in yours that you'd never heard of before? Did you find like a new favorite ink? Tell me in the comments how this all went for you and what you think about this. And that'd be great. I will see y'all in another video soon. Until then, think about what you put out in the world, make it a better place. Happy New Year and peace out.